Computer's running a little slow this morning. I don't know. It may be memory, maybe something else. I don't know. February 2nd, 2012. I'm having quite a morning. I woke up, started doing my physical therapy, and I realized I have some negative thoughts going on in my mind. Uh, I'm reminded of some Buddhist monks who told me that when they bring in boys as young as possible, 4, 5, 6 years old, and one of the mantras they are trained to recite is upon the first conscious breath of awakening in the morning. Omara Patsana D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D, and they're supposed to say the DDDs 100 times in one breath. Their first waking breath. The point being that you guide and train the mind toward a particular goal. Now, I have some theories about stress and tension, and it's to be understood that the monastery is a cloistered environment where it's very protected. There's nothing else invading that sacred space, relatively speaking. Yes, they have all the troubles anybody else has. However, it's a very structured environment. I'm also reminded how one of the monks said, gosh, what was the quote? How did he say it? Anyway, it says, "You Americans have too many choices." And the point being is that given too many choices, the mind can become fragmented. And one of the main guides to the mind that the monks practice is single-pointed meditation. So all our conscious thought is onto a single, definite chief aim of purpose, to use a term by Napoleon Hill. Well, I started telling myself, think good thoughts, think good thoughts. My mantra was, think good thoughts. But as I've said in previous journal entries, my morning is for my active imagination. But in order to keep my active imagination from getting away from me, or to make myself feel better, like I'm actually progressing and doing something, because when you go into the imagination, it's, ephemeral, it's secondary. The primary things in life are the life to be lived, not the fantasies we delude ourselves with. So I do my active imagination while I'm doing my physical therapy regimen, and I've gotten so accustomed to my physical therapy regimen and my meditative active imagination that I can do both simultaneously. There was a point where I came to realize that the difficulty in my physical therapy, the pain and the discomfort and the just awakening and getting the body moving and everything, can influence the forms that arise in my active imagination. So it's a multiplicity of things happening all the time. But anyway, this morning it came back down to workers' compensation. And I have often, for years, had this active imagination arise where I'm in a courtroom and I'm in front of the workers' compensation judge, and I'm there by myself trying to prove my situation in relationship to the insurance company's attorney, who's well trained and well paid for their purposes, which are opposed to my purposes. Now, I don't go into court thinking that I'm in opposition to what the insurance company has for its chief definite aim of purpose. I come in there informing the insurance company's representative, the attorney, that this is how you failed. This is how your insurance company has failed me, and this is what you now need to do. The judge is there because obviously the insurance company doesn't take that stand. The insurance company takes a different stand, and I'm not going to presuppose what that is, but I would suspect that it has to do with personal gain, and if that need be at another person's expense, well, there we have the definition of capitalism. You know, personal gain at another person's expense, capitalizing off of another. So the judge is there obviously because this is atypical for capitalism. Capitalism can't exist without a judge to lay down the law. But as I have come to experience the workers' comp system, it's a racket, it's a setup. I don't know squat about it. I don't know how to go about doing all this legal stuff, and I shouldn't have to. I'm the injured worker. And if I could figure all that stuff out, I might as well get paid for it. But I'm unemployable as a result of my injury. And sitting and studying and learning all this stuff and traveling down there and paying all these phone bills to call them and all this stuff is an expense which I can't afford because I don't work. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a racket. They already know all this. The insurance company already knows all this. The judge has to be impartial, unaffected by the situation as it is, and rely upon whatever it is they rely upon. But recently, with this new elder in my life, he's, he actually taught judges in school. He has done a great many things involved in the judicial system. You might say his entire life has been based upon the judicial system in a militaristic perspective, because he started out in the military and worked his way up into prisons and such. But I came across deviancy, the theory of deviancy, that which deviates from the norm. And this can explain my life from the very beginning, is that I have always been in a catch-22 situation where it's not normal. It's not a clean-cut answer. And I have had to be judged. A judge has had to come into my life over and over and over. And psychologically speaking, I understand that ultimately I have to be my own judge. Ultimately I have to lead my own life. And that is the point to America and freedom, is that we choose to lead our own life within the norms and be productive within our society. I get that. There are extenuating circumstances, however, where we are thrust into situations that require mediation, so to say. which is all a big convoluted mess because whenever I deal with these people, they're so fixed and steadfast, caught up in their own little world, that I have to introduce them to my world